Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the International Webinar Series on Holistic Health, Well-being and Sustainable Development 2025, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 77 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 and Viksit Bharat at 2047 in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Arts, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today, we are commemorating Caesarean Section Day or C-Section Day in US, which is a procedure in which the baby is operated out of mother's womb by making an incision in the abdomen instead of normal delivery, which is through the vaginal canal. Caesarean Section Day was created to credit the first successful Caesarean section delivery performed by Dr. G. Bennett in 1790. This day is dedicated to the people born through C-section and is also to the medical marvel that helped many mothers give birth without any complications. The story behind the first C-section performed is an interesting one. The year was 1794. Elizabeth, the wife of American physician Dr. Jesse Bennett, was in labor, and Dr. Humphrey and Dr. Jesse himself were the only two doctors to attend to her. Elizabeth had been in labor for several hours, and the delivery became riskier as the time went on. The doctors realized that C-section was the only option they had. This was a time when C-section has never been performed, and Dr. Humphrey were skeptical about this. He believed that carrying a C-section delivery meant certain death of mother and the child. An argument followed between the two, Dr. Humphrey and Dr. Jesse Bennett. And Dr. Humphrey left Dr. Jesse Bennett's house. Dr. Jesse Elizabeth, a few maids and domestic help were only few people left in the house, and with a daunting challenge, Dr. Jesse mustered the courage and decided to perform the C-section himself. He did not have proper medical apparatus and the equipment at home to perform the delivery and had homemade instruments. So he quickly assembled planks supported by barrels to make the operation table. A candlelight was lit to serve the guiding light. Laudanum, which is a tincture of opium, was used as an anesthetic. The operation began. Dr. Jesse confidently made a precise cut on his wife and cut open her abdomen, and then he removed his daughter from her mother's womb and cut off the umbilical cord. It is said that Dr. Jesse then proceeded to take out Elizabeth's ovaries, justifying that he didn't want to have such experience again. Miraculously, both mother and child survived. The daughter was named Maria. It is believed that Dr. Jesse never disclosed the details of the crude C-section performed in his barn. He felt that no one would believe him, or worse, they would call him a liar. It was much later, after Dr. Jesse's death, that Dr. A.L. Knight, who was a young boy when Dr. Jesse performed the C section, assembled eyewitness of the C section delivery and made a detailed report of the incident. And thus the world came to know about the story and bravery shown by both Elizabeth and her husband in the times of crisis. Caesarean Section Day was created to honor this legendary couple and celebrate the advancement in medical history that helped save millions of mothers and infants every year. Caesarean section delivery is not painful. It is a misconception that C-section is painful because general anesthesia is not administered and the woman is awake from the base start. Depending on the type of incision made, the C-section is mainly of two types. One is classical cut, which is vertical cut across the abdomen, and the bikini cut, which is horizontal cut. There are shreds of evidence suggesting that babies born through C-section have higher IQ. However, these claims are debatable and are not cut and dried as the IQ of a person may depend on the environment of upbringing and other factors also. Today is also commemorated as International Kite Day, which begins every year on January 14 during Makar Sankranti and ends on January 15. Gujarat has declared the dates a public holiday so that people can join in the festivities. Kite makers start preparing for the festival months in advance. Markets are packed with night aficionados and festivals goers buying supplies day before the festivities. Originally, kite flying was a pastime reserved for royalty and wealth, but in recent years has evolved into a festival open to all, with participants hailing from Japan, Italy, the United Kingdom, Canada, China, Indonesia, Singapore, United States, Malaysia, Australia, France, and Brazil. So International Kite Day originated in India, where it is mostly popularly observed in the city of Ahmedabad in the northern state of Gujarat. In Hindi, the festival is known as Uttarayan, while other regions of India, it is known as Makar Sankranti. It commemorates the transition from winter to summer as well as the forthcoming winter crop harvest. People go from all over the world to participate in the festivities. The kites linked with the celebration represent the god spirits waking from their winter slumber. Simple kites made of light, colorful paper and bamboo frames are most frequent aside from traditional kites. Several feature Bollywood celebrities or social themes. Kite lines are frequently coated with a mixture of rice and crushed glass to aid in kite fighting. This is a game when kite flyers try to cut one another's strings and knock down their kites during the festival. During the day, acrobats perform, while at night, illuminated kites known as tukats fill the skies. The night sky is also lit up by fireworks, although this is an Indian festival. Hindu temples in the United States frequently celebrate it because it is an inclusive celebration. Anyone can participate. Kite flying has since become a custom for Indians during Independence Day to celebrate their independence from British rule. Apart from hoisting the national flag on August 15th, Indians engage in kite flying as a symbol of independence and patriotism. The biggest kite was 83 feet 7 inches long and 131 feet 3 inches broad, which is the world's largest kite. Most kites are designed to fly in winds of 4 to 10 miles per hour. This is probably enough wind to fly if you can feel it on your face. Look for rustling leaves and waving flags. Another good way to measure the wind is to use a compass. So when the Wright brothers were developing the first airplane in the late 1800s, They studied these kites. 180 hours is the world record for the longest kite flight, and leaves were used to make first kites, which were flown thousands of years ago. Large kites were outlawed in East Germany due to fear of people being lifted over the Berlin Wall. During the American Civil War, kites were utilized to carry mail and newspapers. It is also commemorated as Mahanayana New Year on January 14th by Buddhists around the world. The term Mahayana encompasses Buddhist ideologies and philosophies. Mahayana is one of the two main branches of Buddhism and is mostly practiced in Northeast Asia and China, Japan, Tibet, Taiwan, Mongolia, and Korea. Each region has its own customs and tradition for practicing Mahayana Buddhism. In English, Mahayana means great waking. This can be interpreted in different ways by devout followers of Buddhism. The Mahayana branch of the religion is practiced around the world. The belief of Mahayana Buddhist is that enlightenment or eternal nirvana can be achieved during the course of an individual's life. This state of enlightenment is not only attainable by monks but by regular Buddhist practitioners. The ultimate goal is for everyone to make use of this opportunity of enlightenment. The Mahayana New Year dates differ from country based on their customs and tradition. While some Mahayana Buddhists observe the celebration of 1st January alongside the Gregorian New Year, others wait for the full moon of January. The celebration is marked with extensive prayer and honoring the Buddhist gods. Statues of gods are shown respect by bathing them. Temples are visited on this Buddhist New Year, and songs of spirituality are sung to the deities. Candles are also lit as a symbol of happiness and luck for New Year. The Buddhist New Year is also a time for internalizing and self reflection. Lessons from the past mistakes are learned, and the goal is to become a better version of yourself. So, good luck is also enhanced by cleaning and decorating homes and by buying gifts for others. The celebration is not a dull one, with grand feast hosted and fireworks at midnight. Today is also commemorated as National Dress Up Your Pet Day in US. Celebrate by dressing your furry family member in comfortable pet clothing. Maybe even get matching outfits if you want to get crazy. If it were any normal day, people would be start staring at you or at your dog in the street. However, on National Dress Up Your Pet Day, matching outfits are not only accepted but also encouraged. Who's the angel responsible for this day? National Dress Up Your Pet Day was started in 2009 by celebrity pet lifestyle expert and animal behaviorist Colin Page. It celebrates pets and helps to support the pet fashion community. The chance only comes once a year to wow the neighbors and to unleash the inner diva of your favorite pooch. So make sure your dog is dressed for the occasion. Today is also commemorated as National Hot Pastrami Sandwich Day in US. Though this is a non-vegetarian recipe, a vegetarian also serves the purpose. Today is also commemorated as National Shop for Travel Day in US, which is annually celebrated on second Tuesday in January. On January 14th this year, we got our fun mode activated, exploring the world, checking for the choicest destinations, spots, and endless travel deals. Founded in 2018 by the Travel Technology Association, the day aims to celebrate the transformation of the travel experience through technology. With today's much more technologically advanced world, everything is a lot easier, including travel, whether for pleasure or work. It requires just a thought and a click. The joy of travel and the technology innovators who have transformed the way we all shop, compare, plan, and book our vacations. It is the brainchild of the Travel Technology Association, which is a leader in the use of travel technology world to give a deal to consumers. This is a day for travel brands to promote the best deals and inspire travelers to search and book their next trip before the peak holiday season begins. It makes use of the fact that one key business life principle is to put your holidays into your calendar at the start of year, since it motivates one with working year. Today is also commemorated as National Undiyu Day in India. It celebrates the Undiyu, a mixed vegetable dish that has a regional specialty of the Gujarat people. The name of the dish is derived from Gujarati word undu, which means upside down. The dish is traditionally cooked upside down underground in earthen pots called mattu, which are fired from above, opposing the orthodox method of firing from beneath. It is a seasonal dish comprising of wide variety of vegetables that are available on the South Gujarat coastline, including the encompassing regions during winter, such as green bean. The veggies are then spiced with a dry curry paste that's a mix of various spices and sometimes freshly grated coconut. Surti Indiyu is said to be a variant served with puri at weddings and banquets. It's a mixed vegetable casserole made with red lentils and seasoned with spices, grated coconut, and palm sugar in a mild sauce, and further garnished with chopped peanuts and toasted grated coconut. It is usually served with rice. Undiyu is a special meal prepared for Uttarayan, which is the Indian festival of kites. The Gujaratis specialize in making undiyu, and the people say it's made with over 15 seasonal vegetables. On Uttarayan festival of kites, when the kites soar in the sky, people on the ground line up for undiyu doing the rounds, and undiyu is a popular as a platter of jalebis. Undiyu is the one dish that is said to be capable of dividing loyalties among the Gujaratis, as it has achieved a cult status that transcends the Indian borders, making it something beyond just a regional dish, a national dish with a special day dedicated just for it. Today is also commemorated as Novi God Russian New Year in Russia, which means New Year in Russian. For those wondering why Russians celebrate the New Year at this time, you would be surprised to learn that the date has changed many times over the cultures. The tradition dates back thousands of years and has a long and complicated history. Though these days it's a choice for Russians to celebrate twice a year, that's not the only strange tradition. Russians celebrate their New Year with Christmas like traditions. Unlike most of the world, Russians get to celebrate New Year twice. The first is what is referred to as New Year, which is the holiday that falls on January 1st, and the second is the Old New Year or Orthodox New Year, which is celebrated on January 14th. The New Year just begins before midnight when everyone watches the New Year address by the President of Russia on an annual tradition, which the President makes a speech from the Kremlin, followed by watching the famous Kremlin clock strike midnight. The tradition of having the president give a speech started in 1941 when the Soviet Union gave a speech regarding country's affairs during the World War II. Eventually, President strayed from politics and began speaking about more cheerful topics, such as family values and holiday spirit. Today is also commemorated as Organize Your Home Day, falls on January 14. As the name suggests, it is a time to take stock of all the clutter that has been accumulating in your house. Donate whatever you can, responsibly discard what you can't. Get your diary or digital organizer out and put together a plan to make your home cleaner, more spacious, and more beautiful. The first occurrence of this day in the US is not known. However, history of home organizing dates back to start off at every civilization in the world, even the study of economics, practiced by the Greeks going as far as the 8th century BC, had to do with the study of household, oikonomia in Greek for household management. It was only later that the study of economics branched out to public spaces and nation states for many of us. Our homes are also our offices, which is all more reason to get organized. So, Good Housekeeping is a popular American magazine which now retails in several countries. Was started in the year 1885. It contained articles such as The Ways of the Household, a curious kitchen cabinet, and a model homes for model housekeeping. There were other books such as Everyday House, a magazine for practical housekeepers and mothers, which was started in 1890. Today, there are many magazines, online blogs, and social media posts that carry content on better household organization and management. Everyone from Martha Stewart to Maria Kondo has a built-in name and empire for themselves by teaching us how to live at home in style and comfort. Depending on the personal preference, look at the tips and advice from your favorite home organizers and make a note of the different systems you want to try out over the year. After all, home organizing is not a one-day event. Today is also commemorated as Orthodox New Year on January 14th, which is widely known as Old New Year and is marked as January 1st in the Julian calendar, which was used before Gregorian calendar. It is a day for those practicing the Orthodox faith. During this holiday, the services are usually held with a festive dinner, music, and dancing. It is a traditional holiday where people spend time with their families, involve serious meditation about personal New Year resolutions. Although it is important to Orthodox believers, it is not a public holiday. Churches have Orthodox New Year events such as parties or dinners. The individuals who go to these events may pray for the new year and toast their beverages to a year full of goodness. Some churches host dinners to raise funds for charities or church restorations. There is also commemorated as Poetry at Work Day in US, which is celebrated every second Tuesday in January, which is on January 14th this year. On this day, workers enjoy poetry as a means of relaxation and recreation. While at work, poems are creative ways to boost mental ability and improve efficiency at work. Poetry involves conveying messages and emotions in words using structure, style, and rhyme. The history of Poetry at Work Day is blurry. However, we appreciate this day, which allows us to use literature for relaxation at work. Poets are naturally creative, and this quality is in high demand by employers. Poetry at Work Day helps to improve creativity in workers, leading to better efficiency. Poems are very old means of expression, utilizing figures of speech like metaphors, onomatopoeia, and prosodic elements like rhythm, meter, and sound. So poetry has been around for thousands of years, but epic poems, commonly referred to as the first instances of poetry, appears around the 20th century BC, and the Aristotle fragments brought about the introduction of poems, genres, epic, comic, and tragic. Major genres were introduced later. They include epic poetry, dramatic poetry, and lyric poetry. Poems are written in divided sections, mostly a stanza, which is standard of 12 lines. 2 lines are a couplet, 4 lines are a quatrain, and the sonnet, created in 14th century, are 14-line poems. Poetry has a major impact on the business as it helps us to simplify and uncomplicate things. It also builds empathy, and this goes a long way in building strong work relationships with others. It also improves creativity, which is result in better output at work. It helps us to maintain a psychological balance and relieve stress. Poetry keeps us calm, helping us feel good and lightheaded while we carry out tasks at work. Poetry at work is celebrated in offices by posting a poem on a large board for everyone to read, organizing poetry slams, and encouraging workers to discuss or write a program. Today is also commemorated as Printing Ink Day in US, which is celebrated annually on the closest Tuesday to January 16th since 1977. This is the day we all can come together to remember one of our most essential office tools. We get to know what inks are made of and where they came from and what they are used for. Ink is generally a colorant, such as pigment or dye used to deliver color to a surface like paper. Back in day, there was no printers or ball pens to take notes, so people used materials like colored vegetables or blood of fish, amongst others. Imagine having to kill a fish every time you need to spend a note to a friend. This could take out the fun out of it. So ink has been around for a long time. It was formulated by mixing carbon suspensions in water with additives like egg, albumin, and natural gums to hold it together. Later on, in 2500 BC, the Chinese and Egyptians simultaneously developed inks made from similar materials, soot derived from wood, smoke, and animal fat, and condensed with the substance from animal skin called gelatin. Soot is a dark pigment, hence why most writings found from that time were black. They would use an adhesive gum material to mold them into rods that were eventually dried and stored, upon which they would be taken. They would take the rod and dilute in water to activate it before application. In 1772, the patent was issued in England for making a colored ink, as the millennia advanced, the new print technology developed. 1970s, there was an oil crisis and printers started looking for an alternative to petroleum-based inks, such as water, soy, and vegetable-based ink, which were more sustainable and friendlier to our environment. Today is also commemorated as Ratification Day in US. The US state commemorates the ratification of the Treaty of Paris by Confederation Congress, which ended the Revolutionary War and established America as an independent nation. There was a long road between the conclusion of the Revolutionary War hostilities and this day, and the treaty still needed to approval in Paris after ratification day. But it was on this day that the US Congress officially declared the war to be over. The American Revolutionary War, popularly called as American War of Independence or the Revolutionary War, was started by representatives from 13 British American colonies from April 19, 1775 through September 3, 1783. It lasted for over 8 years. It is also commemorated as World Logic Day, which is observed every year on January 14. This day was proclaimed on November 26, 2019 by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, in short known as UNESCO, to bring the intellectual history, practical implications, and conceptual significance of logic to the attention of science communities as well as general public. The International Day was conceptual. The International Day was conceptualized by the Logica Universalis Association, in short known as LUA, and celebrated for the first time on January 14, 2019, before the official proclamation. So there are four major types of logic: informal logic, formal logic, symbolic logic, and mathematical logic. Aristotle is considered to be the father of Western logic, as he was the first to develop a formal system for reason. To observe this day by applying logic to your daily activities, use logic in making decisions and informing correct conclusions. Logic is an interesting discipline capable of improving the mind's capacity. There's so much more to learn, increasing. Logic is an interesting discipline capable of improving the mind's capacity. There's so much more to learn. Increase your knowledge base by learning about different kinds of logic and how they affect our world. Today is also commemorated as the last day of Dhanurmas, which has started on 16 December till today, 14th January. So Dhanurmas, which falls from mid-December to mid-January, is considered as Shunyamas or Karmas. Dhanurmas begins on December 16, 2024 and ends on January 14, 2025. So Dhanurmasam is considered inauspicious in some regions, especially for materialistic benefits, as only prayers and godly functions are performed during this day. The importance of Dhanurmasam is mentioned in Dhanurmasa Mahatya of Pancharatragama, Anjaneya Purana, and also in scriptures called Smriti Muktavan. Dhanurmas is basically the period the sun shifts from Dhanurashi to Makar Rashi, and it ends on the Makar Sankranti. Worship of Lord Vishnu during the morning hours in Dhanurmasam is considered highly auspicious. Vishnu Sahasranama is chanted during this period. Other important mantras chanted are those dedicated to Goddess Lakshmi. The most popular offering made to the Lord Vishnu in the month is moong dal rice. There is a belief that worshipping Lord Vishnu on a single day during Dhanurmasam is equal to worshipping him for thousands of years. In Pancharatra Agama, the greatness of Dhanurmasa is presented in 4 chapters as a conversion between Lord Vishnu in the form of swan or Hamsa and Lord Buddha. The dialogue between Lord Vishnu and Lord Brahma is narrated by sage Suta in response to a query by sage Shaunaka. The greatness and the holiness of Dhanurmasam and the rewards one gets by observing austerities in the holy month is found in the 1st chapter. The story of King Satyasandha and the holiness he achieved by observing Dhanurmasa Vratam is mentioned in the 2nd chapter. The 3rd chapter talks about the importance of giving almost alms during the Dhanurmasa month, that is donations. Numerous pious deeds a devotee can perform are mentioned in this chapter. The final chapter talks about feeding the poor. It is said that the best way to reach the feet of Sri Hari Vishnu is by feeding the hungry and poor. Dhanurmasam is not an independent month in any Indian calendar except for Malayalam calendar followed in Kerala. In this calendar, the month during the period is known as Dhanurmasam. The start of Dhanurmasam is marked by the entry of the sun in Dhanur Rashi, Sagittarius, called the Dhanur Sankramana, hence the name Dhanurmasa. For the period during this month, the sun or Surya transits the Dhanur Rashi until it enters the Makar Rashi at the end of the month. Margali month is observed during the period in Tamil Nadu. Dhanurmas begins with Margarshi month in Telugu, Kannada, Gujarat, and Marathi calendar. In North India calendars, it begins with Margashira or Paush month. The Ekadasi falling during the Dhanurmas period is considered highly auspicious. In South India, especially the Vaikuntha Ekadashi, which falls during the waxing phase of the moon in Dhanurmas, attracts thousands and lakhs of devotees to important Vishnu devotees for passing through the Moksha Dwaram or Swargavakya or Vaikuntha Dwaram. And today is the 2nd day of Mahakumbh Mela 2025, which is the largest congregation of people, and it is estimated that more than 2 crores people have taken bath in these 2 days in the Mahakumbh. So we will see more about this in coming days. And today is also celebrated as Sankranti, the festival of harvest, festival of kites, and festival of animals. It is observed with social festivities such as colorful decorations, rural children going house to house singing and asking for the treats in some areas, melas, fairs, dances, kite flying, bonfires, and feasts. The Magha Mela is mentioned in the Hindu epic Mahabharata. Many observers go to sacred rivers or lakes and bath in the ceremony of the thanks to the sun. Every 12 years, the Hindus observe Makar Sankranti with Kumbh Mela. one of the world's largest mass pilgrimage with an estimated 60 to 100 million people attending the event. Now it has gone up to 45 crores estimated people are going to take event. Even if we consider every day 1 crore, it will be exceeding more than that. So as we have seen the first 2 days, it has crossed more than 2 crores. So at this event, they say a prayer to the sun and bath at the Prayagraj confluence of the river Ganga and river Yamuna and Saraswati, a tradition attributed to Adi Shankaracharya. Makar Sankranti is a time of celebration and thanksgiving and is marked by a variety of rituals and tradition. Makar Sankranti is set by the solar cycle and corresponds to the exact time astronomical event of the sun entering Capricorn and is observed on the day that usually falls on 14 January of the Gregorian calendar, but on 15 January in leap years. Makar Sankranti date and the time is analogous to the sidereal time of zodiac sign of Capricorn when sun enters. So the year is 365.24 days long, and the time difference between the two consecutive instances of Makara Sankranti is almost the same as a year. There are 365 days in a year, thus every 4 years, the calendar is offset by 1 day, which is adjusted by adding leap day, 29th February. Hence, Makar Sankranti falls on 15 January every leap year. Sidereal time of a sign of Capricorn also shifts by a day due to leap year. Similarly, the time of equinoxes also shift by a day in each 4-year window. For example, the equinox of September does not fall on the same date each year, nor does the winter solstice. Any event related to one revolution of the Earth around the Sun will have this date shift within a 4-year cycle. Similar changes can be seen in the exact time of solstices and equinoxes. The time difference between the two consecutive winter solstices is about 5 hours, 49 minutes, 59 seconds. With respect to winter solstice time and the time difference between two consecutive Makara Sankranti is about 6 hours and 10 minutes. So towards the end of 21st century, there will be more occurrences of Makar Sankranti on 15 January in a 4-year cycle, and Makara Sankranti will be on 16 January for the first in the year 2102, and as 2100 will not be a leap year. The festival is celebrated for 4 days in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana and rest of India and even across the world by Indian diaspora and Hindu diaspora. Women decorate the entrance of their homes by geometric patterns drawn using a colored rice flour called muggu or kolam or rangoli. Day 1 is Bogi, day 2 is Pedda Pandaga, Sankranti, the main festival day. Day 3 is Kanuma and day 4 is Mukkanuma. Bogi is the first day on the 4-day festival. It is celebrated with a bonfire with logs of wood, other solid fuels and wooden furniture at home that are no longer useful. In the evening, a ceremony called Bogi Pallu, fruits of harvest such as Regi Pallu and sugarcane are collected along with flowers of the season. Money is often placed into the mixture of treats and is poured over children. The children then collect the money and sweet foods. The second and main day of the 4-day festival is dedicated to Hindu god Surya. The day marks the start of Uttarayana when the sun enters into the 10th house of zodiac Makara. It is commonly called as Pedda Panduga, big festival in the Andhra Pradesh state and Telangana state. Arisalu, a traditional sweet dish, is offered to the god. The third day of the 4-day festival is called Kanuma, is dedicated to the cattle and other domestic animals. The cattle are decorated, especially cows. They are offered bananas, a special meal, and worship. On this day, popular community sport, Kodi Pandam, and also Edla Pandam will begin playing until the next day, 1 or 2 days, especially in the coastal Andhra region of Andhra Pradesh. Mukkanuma is the fourth day and last day of the 4 day festival. Many families hold reunions on this day, followed by food feast. So with this, we shall end today's commemorations. Thank you everyone for joining us. See you all tomorrow at the same time, same commemorations. Take care. Good night.